Well, I take it we're live. Um, my name is Debbie Spear, and I am the features editor for Pollstar magazine, live from quarantine in Fresno, California, and here today with Marcie Allen. She is a queen in my experience. I've known her for almost 20 years now, in doing a little bit of everything from concert promotion to staging live festivals, creating free festivals, and then going into branding and marketing, bringing artists together with brands. And now she's moving into the world of CBD with a cafe in Nashville. And she's also an adjunct professor at New York University Steinhardt School. So, hello, Marcie.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me today.
Oh, it's great. I'm glad to see you. I'm glad to see anybody, frankly. We have about 30 minutes to talk about so much stuff that's happening, obviously, in this little age of coronavirus, and it's going to change the business, but we want to keep things positive. So I was hoping we could maybe talk about how your business is overcoming the challenges and what we can expect for the industry. Everyone's challenged right now, so.
Absolutely. And I think first and foremost, what I've been saying to my team is we can't get down right now. This is simply a reset in the music industry. It's the biggest reset I've ever seen, and I've been in the industry for 25 years. So it's the people that are creative and that have the ability to pivot and find niches that need to be filled that are going to succeed and come out on top. So one of the things that we've been doing at Mac Presents is really seeing how consumer behavior has changed drastically. Online sales are up 35% during the pandemic. So for someone who's in the experiential event business, we've had to say, okay, how do we bring that experience to where all of these consumers are, which is in their homes? They've fled sometimes their apartments, they've gone to stay at their parents' homes, they've gone to stay at other family members' homes, they've rented houses at the beach for 3 months. I mean, you've read all kinds of crazy stories about where people are quarantining and who they're quarantining with. So brands have to also take all of their marketing plans that they had created for 2020 and they have to throw them out the window. And they have to start over. And it's about giving back. It's about being philanthropic, but it's also, at the end of the day, these brands have products to sell. And we don't want to see any more businesses close down because of the pandemic. So we as consumers have to support them. And I feel that there is a lot of demand for products right now, maybe not high-end luxury brands, but CPG, consumer packaged goods. I mean, can anybody get their hands on some toilet paper and Purell for me and ship it down here? Because we have none. But it's a completely different world. And there's also a lot of opportunities. So we're looking at this as a challenge, but also as a fun challenge that we're eager to tackle.
Yes, and I think that this pandemic is going to be especially challenging for the artists. They're not getting any income from touring. Many of them are moving into streaming concerts, and I see a lot of those now being sponsored by brands. And I'm wondering what you see in that landscape.
I can tell you that what shook me to my core was the Zach Brown video from right when the pandemic hit that he posted and online, and it went viral, talking about how he was going to have to lay off such a substantial amount of his staff and his crew. And it broke my heart. And it was at that moment that I also realized that music fans have to realize that artists are businesses. They have LLCs, they have people on the payroll, they are bankrolling a lot of people, and they need to be paid for their work. So while all of these charity events, raising dollars for the frontline heroes have been fantastic, now we need to go into phase 2 of figuring out how we can monetize these experiences and these opportunities for artists. Because again, especially think about country music singers, you know, sometimes they have co-writing on their songs, but a lot of times they're singing other songs that songwriters have written for them, you know, and same thing with pop. You know, you have sometimes 10, 12 writers on a song. You know, not everybody is Metallica. And so this is really a sense that we have to figure out, and this is one of the things that we're doing at Mac Presents, is how do we help these artists monetize their music in a meaningful way, and more importantly, can create a model that moving forward, because this is the way that the new music industry is going to be for the unforeseeable future, until we figure out if drive-in concerts is something that consumers are going to attend after it was first launched in Germany. You know, everyone's throwing all these different ideas up against the wall, but no one's quite sure what's going to stick.
Yeah, and one thing that I always hear, and it may seem like a cliche, but I think it's pretty true, is that in times of chaos are also great times of opportunity.
Absolutely.
Maybe we can talk about some of the opportunities that you're seeing out in the wide world there between New York and Nashville, and tell us what you think about that.
I mean, I think there's a lot of opportunity right now. I've been saying for 6+ months that content is the future of the music industry. And I'm not necessarily talking about streaming services such as XM Sirius and Spotify. I'm talking about Amazon, Peacock, HBO, Max, Netflix. If you look at some of these deals, I think it was announced this morning that Apple just did a deal with Martin Scorsese and Leonardo DiCaprio for upwards of $150 million. You know, there's no reason that Taylor Swift with Netflix, Billie Eilish with Apple, and Rihanna with Amazon should be the only artists that are getting multi-million-dollar paydays for their content. You know, there's rumors out there that Amazon is going to purchase AMC theaters, which would give them a distribution for this content that's not just in people's homes. There's so much opportunity out there. We, as the smart leaders that we all are in the music industry, just have to put our heads together and figure out what the new model is, because for the unforeseeable future, unfortunately, live events are on hold unless they are at reduced capacity.
And speaking of live events, maybe we can talk a bit about what the state of the business kind of is right now with the pandemic, and where you see it changing going forward. Because it seems like it's necessarily going to have to change in the way deals are structured, whether it's the record labels or it's Live Nation buying the big tours, or even your local club and how they're going to book artists.
Well, I'm not a promoter, so I can't speak for Live Nation or AEG, but I can see that artists are going to absolutely want to redo their deals with any promoter that they cut a long-term deal with. The earn-out model, I think, is going to change, because until we develop a vaccine or figure out what we can do to really stop the spread of COVID, we're at a standstill. You know, I mean, you see that concerts are starting to pop up in stadiums, you know, in drive-in movie theaters, all different types of places, but there is not a proven model yet. And so until then, artists are going to have to figure out other ways to create revenue. So whether that's maybe focusing on a side project, you know, going, Post Malone recently announced a deal with E&J Gallo for a wine. You know, those are the kind of things that, you know, really hit the nail on the head with where in the direction that we need to be moving. You know, there's always been a rumor around the industry that Dave Matthews makes more money on his wine than he does on touring. So, you know, I don't know that for a fact. I don't manage Dave Matthews, but, you know, I know that Corin Capshaw is extremely smart and that's great deals.
Yes, well, you know, Corin, what can you say? There's somebody you talk about finding opportunities and being a little bit ahead of the curve. He's one of them, but you are too. You've always been, maybe, you know, I want to say 6 months to a year, but maybe a couple of years out ahead of of trends. Again, the free festivals. I think we first met it on the Bricks in Atlanta.
We sure did.
Yes.
That was 2000 to 2004.
Yeah, something like that. And that was interesting because there was a competing festival at that time as well. And so you kind of did a little battle with that and came out fine, went to Nashville, did Dancing in the District, and have pivoted, it seems effortlessly in ways that I can't even imagine, that, in terms of making drastic changes to a career. And I guess that kind of segues into your new business in Nashville with your husband, Derek.
And I want to touch on one thing that you said, Debbie, because it's something that I teach in my NYU class every Thursday. You cannot be afraid of failure. My favorite line that people attribute to me all the time is, you fail forward. I have failed so many times, I've lost count. And I talk about it. I don't hide it. I don't shy away from it. But when you're at the bottom, there's nowhere to go but up. And when my husband and I decided to start Ainsley Blue, which is a CBD line and coffee shop in Nashville, Tennessee, this was really just a side hustle, something that we were passionate about. We both take CBD, and we wanted to make sure that what we were putting in our bodies was from a trusted source. So my husband worked for over a year with I call him the mad scientist, with this mad scientist out of California to create Ainsley Blue. And then me, being the marketing arm of Ainsley Blue, realized that we needed to create an experience for people. We needed a place that consumers could come in and be educated about CBD, try it out, add it to their coffee, add it to their cocktails. And we also wanted something that was going to be nationwide. And so we created our e-commerce, our website, ainsleyblue.com, where people can purchase products, and we ship them free. But more importantly, I also wanted to create the personal touch. And one of the reasons that I feel that I've been successful through Mad Booking and Mac Presents. And so if you go to our Instagram page at Ainsley Blue and you send a direct message, you're getting me. So I'm the one who responds. And when I say, because I always sign my messages Marcie, they're like, wait, are you the owner? You're responding at 10:30 on a Sunday night? And a lot of times I'll ask people for their phone number, and I'll just pick up the phone and call them and talk CBD. And that's just the kind of attention that I think that the world needs right now. People want to be heard. People want small, they want local, they want trusted. And that is something that we are carrying over into Mac Presents as we're developing, our plan for the future branding deals that we're going to be working on.
Okay. And it looks like we have a question, and I think we kind of touched on it, but maybe we can expand a little. It said it would be great to hear Marcie's thoughts on live streaming, brands, and music during the pandemic. And like I said, we did touch on it, but maybe if we can expand some.
Absolutely. I think that probably the brand leaders during the pandemic have been Verizon and Bud Light. I love the live stream concerts. I am a huge Dave Matthews fan, and I'm so excited that Verizon is now doing a second live stream with Dave Matthews Band. I think that a lot of brands quickly realize that they cannot sit on the sidelines, that they have to just be able to pivot with their marketing plans right now and still need to be out there. If you look all the way back to the Great Depression, to after 9/11, to the stock market crash in the late 80s, brands that pulled back on their marketing spends suffered greatly. It is an opportunity for challenger brands. So, don't think about, huge brands that we all use on a daily basis, but those small challenger brands that go out and really increase their marketing spend during challenging times that end up becoming dominant as we all come out of this hard time. And so I feel that while the living room concerts were great in the beginning, they're a little tired right now. We definitely need to develop a little bit more exciting content. I love that Coca-Cola did something recently in the Grand Canyon with an artist. I mean, you're seeing all these creative ideas come out of this, and that's what's so inspiring to me, because we are going to have to work harder and smarter. But again, there's just so much opportunity right now.
Yes, and I've seen also some of the some bands, like I think it's Flogging Molly is taking over Fenway Park and filming or live streaming another concert from there. Even in my own neighborhood, we have a club owners that are attempting that as well. So it's not just the guy with the guitar, like you said, in the bedroom.
Right.
Because obviously you want to have your quality, video and audio quality, up to the standards of your artistic endeavors. So I think I would guess we'll see a whole lot more of that going forward. But you mentioned previously that you thought that this was a reset that you haven't seen in quite some time. And when we talked on the phone earlier, you mentioned like nothing we've seen since the 50s, which I found kind of intriguing. So maybe we can expand on that as well. And you can tell everybody what you already told me.
First of all, my Rhodes College history professor would be very proud of me. I was a history major. A lot of people don't know that in college. And so one of the things that we always discuss, because I was fascinated with World War II, was after World War II, when all of the soldiers came home, everyone was about family life. It was about living the American dream. It was about having the house and the white picket fence and the dog and the 2.5 children. And I'm not saying that we're going that far, but if you look at what everyone is saying right now online, from celebrities to athletes to artists to just the average American, they're saying that this time has been absolutely precious, that they have been able to spend with their families, with their loved ones, with their kids. And a lot of people are saying that the whole attitude, mental attitude of Americans is going to change drastically, that people are going to be cooking dinner at home more. They're going to be vacationing in their backyard. You know, money is being spent on everything from in-ground pools to kiddie pools. People are purchasing trampolines. People are purchasing outdoor movie screens. You know, the idea of a party might be inviting 6 of your best friends over, not 600. You know, it's just everything is changing right now. And I think that brands are going to have to take notice of that, as well as artists. You know, you might see artists start to perform in someone's backyard. Now you may say, oh, well, how's someone going to afford that? I don't know. Maybe it's a smaller artist. You know, I'm not talking about, you know, Dave Matthews Band coming and performing in my backyard in Green Hills, even though that would be fabulous. I'm talking about maybe it's a local artist that for my husband's birthday, I want to invite a few of our close friends over, have a chef come in and cook dinner, and that's it, instead of going on a trip to Europe. I just think all of our behavioral patterns are getting ready to change. And so we have to kind of take a step back as brand marketers and say, what is the future going to look like, and how can we be a part of it in an authentic way?
Yes. Well, and I'm just going blank here. I hate that. I'm thinking, you know, in terms of what you were just saying, I know in my own day-to-day life now, I'm shopping by Instacart for groceries and not eating out, cooking for myself more. And I find that I'm really saving a lot of money. I'm not impulse buying and that sort of thing. And how would you propose that I kind of spend my money to support one of your artist clients? Because I bet there's some dollars that can be spent that way.
I think you're going to see merchandising exploding. And I'm not talking about just t-shirts. It could be a whole homeware goods line. I know that there's an artist that we're talking to right now that wants to start designing furniture and wants to figure out who she can partner up with. So this is, I mean, we are seeing probably the biggest explosion of home projects that we've ever seen. My husband owns a construction business, Van Mall Restoration in Nashville, and his business has more than doubled since the pandemic started because construction was considered what do they call it? A necessary business. And so therefore it was essential business, sorry, brain fart, an essential business, and it was not shut down during the pandemic. And so he has just been continuing to win new jobs, whether it's an addition for kitchens, bathrooms, outdoor spaces. So I think that, again, artists are just going to have to sit down and make a list of all of their passion points and what they are interested in and figure out a way to partner up with brands, because the future really is in brand marketing and experiential marketing.
Okay. I have a cat I have to push off the table. It's like, Bobo, no. Oh, that's awesome. Crazy kitties. I think also maybe we can talk to us a bit about the program that you're teaching at NYU. We've kind of mentioned it, but you haven't talked about it, and I think you had mentioned something about possibility of like music business executives getting involved in some of the programs in a way that reminds these students that are maybe not even in classes right now, that there is a career for them and a business to go to when this is over.
100%. And I had my last NYU Steinhardt strategic branding course on Zoom. And I said to every single one of my students that this is the time to start a new business, whether you're a graphic designer, whether you're a writer, whether you're an editor, whether you want to work on branding deals, whatever it is, there's never been a better time to follow your dreams and start a business, because let's be honest, no one cares what your office address is right now because no one's in their offices. And a lot of offices are not going to be open until the fall. And some people are saying that whether it's Twitter or Spotify have said to their employees that they can work remote until 2021. So the whole kind of landscape is changing, but we cannot forget about our future leaders in the music industry. And that is all of the seniors who recently graduated from college. So teaching a strategic branding course for the past 7 years has really given me ability to connect with these students. You know, I'm not spring chicken anymore. I'm going to be 47 in a couple months. And I have said the same thing to every single class, which is like, go out there and meet as many people as you can. Well, now it's difficult because there aren't networking events there. You know, I don't know if there's going to be a Pollstar conference. You know, I don't know. These are all the unknowns that we're all eagerly awaiting to hear updates on. So all of the music executives really need to take 5 minutes a day and answer those LinkedIn messages that you're receiving from recent college grads about advice, and make sure that we're fostering those relationships because they are the future of our industry. And so I am extremely passionate about that, specifically helping female college students, because this is what we have to do. We have to give back. You know, we have all been very lucky and blessed to be in this industry for 25 years plus, but we would not have gotten here today if it wasn't for the help from others. So now we have to continue to pay it forward.
Yes. And when we talked earlier, we both kind of marveled at the fact that 25 years ago, or maybe even 10 years ago, you probably wouldn't see two women having a one-on-one conversation like this. So I'm so appreciative of you. I see that we have some questions. Interested to see what Spotify does with artist deals after the massive deal they did with Joe Rogan. What do you think of that?
That was great. I love hearing about deals like that because it means game on for an artist manager, agent, whoever's negotiating. And you know what? All of these deals are going to change in how they are negotiated. I think we're going to see new players come into the music industry that we never would have even thought of. It's an exciting time.
Okay, and I'm also seeing that we're kind of getting close to the 30-minute mark, and I think you had some concerns about other things you have to do today, and also trying to keep it within a half an hour. But I do want to say that I hope to see you at Pollstar Live in February, and that we are still, we're kind of, hopefully we'll be over all this by then. There's also the Venues Now conference in September, and that's going to be interesting because that is going to be in Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be the week that the Raiders open their new stadium. And I'm a Raider fan. So even though I'm not with Venues Now, I'll be watching that with great interest from here. And I'm seeing now it looks like Las Vegas is opening up next week. So
June 4th.
Hopefully everything goes well. We don't have a resurgence of this and wind up back in our homes again in October. But it's been great seeing you and having a chance to chat and doing my first live stream.
I love it. You did
an interesting experience, definitely.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Marcie, and best of luck. And hope you enjoy the rest of your vacation in the Keys that I probably wasn't supposed to mention, but
it's okay. I'm in a swimsuit cover up. It's all good.
This is the first time I put on pants with a zipper and a button in 3 months, or done my face. So I'm kind of getting over it quickly. But once again, thanks a million. We'll see you soon, and stay in touch.
Thank you. Be well.
You too. Thank you.